Hello, I am Silver Stitches, otherwise known as Lizzie, and I am going to do my first Stitch With Me video today. I'm stitching on Summer Queen, which is a retired pattern from Heaven and Earth Designs by the artist Bridget Ashwood. The stats are that I've got 2,340 stitches out of 377,850, which is at 0.62%. And because I'm into perfumes, I thought I'd add what perfume I'm wearing today as well, which is Avon's Faraway Glamour. I haven't done much reading lately, so except for the usual Pride and Prejudice, which I'm sure I don't want to need to bore people about. This is what I've done so far. Take this off and show you. That's what I've done so far. Pretty in purple, my favourite colour. And I'm not sure how long this is going to be, so getting it back on now is a bit tricky. Tighten it up. I like my fabric nice and tight. I'd like to get some more of these Q-snaps. I know you can get them fairly cheaply, but yeah, it's just getting around to buying them, isn't it? And I thought I'd show you another whip that I'm doing. It's Amy Stewart's Birds and Blooms. I will again link a picture to the image, as it is still there. And that's what I've done so far on this. As you can see, the beginnings of a bird and a poppy flower. I made a mistake somewhere up here and I'm not sure how to correct it, so I think I'm just going to have to try and fudge it. So, because I don't really want to frog thousands and thousands, hundreds of stitches just to sort out a tiny mistake that could easily just be ignored and fudged. So that's another whip that I forgot to show you the other day. It's very colourful. I'll show you the colours in a minute once I get the hoop back on. I don't know if you have a hoop habit, but my my hoop habit is I prefer the tightener screw at the top, to be at the top of the, it gives me an orientation then of knowing where I am in the pattern. These are the colours for Birds and Blooms. Look at all those delicious colours. Beautiful. Love working on it when I am working on it. So yeah, this is a bit of a tiny whip parade and a bit of a Stitch With Me as well. I wanted to film this last week, but if I've lost my, oh no I haven't. If you do subscribe to me, which I am hugely thankful for the subscribers I've got, I'm now over 100. If you saw my community post, you'd understand that my voice went all funny. I sounded like a mixture of Violet Elizabeth Bott from Just William and, you know, Bonnie Langford. If you're of a certain age, you would know who Bonnie Langford is, and her character in that was famous for having a lisp. And that's what I was doing. I was lisping, my throat was sore, there was something swollen in the centre of my tongue, and just couldn't talk. Not properly anyway. It hurt. So now that that's cured, because of the army of pills I've been put on, I have decided to film this Stitch With Me. Now, as the title suggests, it is a Stitch With Me. So the first colour I'm doing is 209. which I need to get some out of the box for. Typical. I have a bad habit of putting the needle in my mouth, and hang on. This is 240 odd colours because it's a max colour I'm doing, and so it's 3 boxes, or 3 of these boxes. I'm always picking the wrong ones. This is the third box. This also got a Mirabilia that I started. But this side is Summer Queen Bridget Ashwood, and this side is the Mirabilia Cassiopeia. Forgive the rustle. And these are, this is the first box. Beautiful colours. So I need 209. 209 is not that. And as this is a cross stitch channel, everyone is familiar that 209 is a purplish colour. Hang on. Yeah, the Stitch With Me has gone on a flying start, hasn't it? 209 is this colour, as you see. I bobbinate, but I'm a very, very bad bobbinator. That's why I prefer material packs. I did have a question asking me why I prefer material packs, and this is it, because I'm not very fond of bobbinating. I find it hard on my hands because I've got fibromyalgia, and I can't use the thing that makes it easy to bobbinate either because my hand-eye coordination is 0. And yeah, it's about the length anyway. So need to find a cardigan because I am disorganised. I should really call myself the disorganised stitcher, shouldn't I, really? Because I am disorganised. 209. I now separate thread. There. Done. I've got my tablet by me, which has Pattern Keeper on it. It is the one that tells me all the stats. And forgive me, but I do lick my floss, so I do put it in my mouth. It's what I saw my mum and dad doing when I was a kid, so I assume that, and as I said, hand-eye coordination is 0. So I got into cross stitch very late in life, really. I was in my early 40s, still in my early 40s, but as my dad was fond of saying when I turned 44, that I'm heading into middle age now, which is not fun. And yes, because I started off with diamond painting, which I do still like, but not as much as cross stitching. And as I was diamond painting, I said to my mother, do you think I could cross stitch now I can understand that symbols and colours work together? And she says, you can always give it a try. So that very night I looked up a pattern, looked up Heaven and Earth Designs, found a pattern that was Heather by Hannah Lynn, not Heather Lynn, Heather by Hannah Lynn. And it took my breath away because it was hot air balloons, not hot water balloons, silly me. And it was in my favourite colours, purples and greens. And it looked fairly blocky and fairly easy for a first timer, only to find out when I was doing it that the beginnings of the pattern weren't quite so blocky after all. it was it was confetti and it was boring colours, but it didn't deter me. I still want to do it. That's why I've ordered the material pack now. And yes, there are probably going to be customs charges, but quite frankly, I'm prepared to pay for that rather than be ill at ease doing the bobbinating, because it really does hurt and it takes up so much time. I would rather just get on with the cross stitching and see the pattern emerge. So that's why I order material packs. I know they're expensive, I know that, but for me it's a convenience, and I will always order kits. I'm not that organised a person anyway, so for me, to pay someone else to do it, it keeps them in a job, and it makes it easier for me to carry on. So that's why I order material packs. So I won't have very many kits on the go because of that very reason. I don't have a master set, so I can't order anything unless I've got the money, and because I'm on benefits, money is tight, so I have to be very careful about what I order when I order it. So again, that's another reason why there's not going to be much haul either, because of that very reason. I have to be very careful, and not only am I counting money, I'm also counting my calories, because I am not happy with the weight that I am, and I would like to lose some weight, because it's healthier really, and I don't want to get diabetes or have a heart attack because of, and I've already got what they call a fatty lung, so that's not very good, is it? So I'm trying to count my calories, not succeeding so far, but it's early days yet. It's a 12-week program, so yes, yesterday I went really over my limit, but enough said. Because I like rice and pasta, you can't really recook packet rice like Tilda's and Uncle Ben's packet rices. You can't really recook them once they're cooked. You have to eat them. So yeah, and I'm the only one that likes things like coconut rice and lime and coriander rice, and I live with my brother who doesn't. So because we have some fairly different tastes and things, I'm probably making excuses, but that's the way that I see it. Anyway, enough about that. I'm watching Strictly this year. Yay! I've really missed it the past few years. I don't know. But yeah, for some reason I went right off it for a few years, and now I'm watching it again. Maybe it's just a blip. I don't know, but I really love the teams. Some of my favourite people are in it. Sarah Hadland from Miranda Hart, which is one of my favourite modern comedy. Well, she's not really modern anymore, is she, Miranda? And she was in one of my favourite TV sketch shows, Horrible Histories. She tended to play the rather sarcastic characters, which I like. I know sarcasm is the lowest form of wit, but in some cases it could be the highest form of intelligence. Toya Wilcox, I love her. I think she's amazing. She has had a tragic life, but she's bouncy and happy, and she's not blaming anyone for it, which I do admire that about her. Shane Ward, who was in a series called The Good Ship Murder recently, and I've watched that. That's brilliant. I like my cosy murder mysteries. It's like Miss Marple set on a cruise ship. He plays an entertainer that was an ex-cop, so he knows how to solve crimes. It's quite original. It's quite different. At every port there was a murder, though. Wouldn't want to be on that cruise. I've just a shout out. I've just started watching Ashlleigh, I think her name is, the Distracted Stitcher, and I like her style. I like the fact that she's into literature, and I love the fact that she's into Beatrix Potter as well, because I love Beatrix Potter. I've grown up reading Beatrix Potter, and there was a time when I lived in near a city called Gloucester, where her favourite tale is actually set, The Tailor of Gloucester. So yeah, I've been to the shop. I used to go to the Lake District quite a lot because my grandma lived there. I've been to Beatrix Potter's cottage. Lovely, lovely place. I can understand why she wanted to protect England, the countryside around that area, the way that she did, because she was very adamant about modernisation. She didn't like it. Hang on, throat's going a bit now. I've got to have some water. That's another thing I'm trying to do, is drink more water rather than juices and yeah, maybe my voice isn't quite back to normal, but yes, so that is that. As you can see, I'm not a fast stitcher, and if you can't see me stitching, but I am. Look. I know that people have overhead shots, so I don't know how to do that yet. I don't think I've got the equipment to be able to do overhead shots. So this is about the best I can do at the moment. But hopefully I will get to that point. Maybe if I change the angle of the camera, but I'm not doing that now. I'm going to be a learn as you go person. That's what I'm going to do. Learn as I go. Ugh. This is done on 18 count easy guide. As you can see, the squares, it's done on 18 count easy guide. I love 18 count because it's just fine enough so that, just double checking, yes, just fine enough so the stitches look nice and neat, but it's also spaced out enough that I can see the holes without having to put anything behind the fabric to find them. Yes, I'm filming this now because my brother is in the shed actually doing his hobby, which is model railways. I can't remember what gauge he's at doing. I could never remember the gauge. I do listen to him, but I forget. Fibre fog, and your brain tends to only store memories of things and that you actually like. So yes, that's that. What else? Oops, found the wrong place. See if I can get it out. Yeah. I was going to take the dogs out for a walk today, but it is chucking it down. But then what do you expect? This is Wales. So, you know, it rains, it pours. As one of my favourite comedians said, 40 days and 40 nights, that's the best summer we ever had in Wales. So, you know, even the Welsh make fun of it. As you can tell, I'm not Welsh. I come from the southeast of England. But I'm not going to say where. Not because I'm ashamed, but because I don't really want want to. Just working out where I am now. I think that's it, yeah. What else can I talk about? Oh yes, the Lowry stand that I ordered won't be here until sometime next week. So, gotta still wait for that. I'm really looking forward to it. I phoned up the company that I ordered it from. I got a very bubbly person for a Thursday morning. I couldn't quite cope. I'm not a morning person at all. I'm not an evening person either. I am not the morning lark, and I am not the night owl, but I'm some kind of permanently exhausted pigeon. That describes me to a T, permanently exhausted, because I am. I'm always tired. I could always go to sleep. It's a struggle for me to be awake, so the fact that I'm doing this is incredible. Try and get it so you can see at least the Q snap. It's not working, is it? As I said, I'm going to have to get equipment that I can do overhead shots, although I'm not sure what I need. Who else have I been watching? Tinne, I think she is pronounced Tinne, Tinne. She does big awesome projects. I'm not going to say what it really stands for because I don't swear. I never sworn in my life. Not serious swear words anyway. I might have done the odd mild one, although I suppose for swearing it's swearing. It's like saying there's a white lie and a black lie. Lies are a lie. What else? Hopefully we'll be making a big order from Sparkly soon, in the next few months. There are some patterns, from, as I said, Bella Filipina patterns, and that I need to get, or want to get, because they're based on stories, fairy tales that we grew up with, like Snow White, Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, Aladdin, all the stories that we grew up watching and reading and falling in love with. And I've got Nessa wanting to jump. Come on, come on, come on, come on. No. Just give me a very sad look at the moment. I don't know why. Ah, oh dear, she nearly made it. She nearly made it. There she is. There's Nissa. There's my co-host. Yeah. She's named after a Doctor Who companion. One of my favourite doctors is Peter Davison's Doctor. I'm really got to catch up on that. I haven't watched the 60th anniversary yet, and I've yet to watch. So yes, I've got to get back onto that. Maybe tonight I'll watch one of them. Any plans? I don't really have any plans at the moment. I have a question to ask about fractionals on Mirabilias. If anybody can recommend some good tips, because I'm doing half stitches and... Hang on, have I done that right? Oh. Nope, I haven't. Oh dear, I put a stitch in the wrong place. Hang on. This is pushing me now. She wants to sit behind me. She really would like to sit on my shoulders, but that isn't happening, not with me stitching. Hang on. Definitely got it in the wrong place. Just trying to frog it now without breaking the thread, which hasn't happened. I hate it when that happens, when the thread breaks. Scissors, as I said, I'm trying to break myself of the habit of putting the needle in my mouth. Left me with that tiny bit. Oh well, get a new bit of thread. What else? What else? What else? So yes, I could have done cross-stitching a lot earlier, as I said, because my parents cross-stitched. Were always cross-stitching. They cross-stitched in bed, they cross-stitched in the living room, in the garden, in the, you know, just if they had spare minutes, they cross-stitched. And I could have got into it a lot earlier, but as a teenager, I didn't think that I was of the... Sorry about this. It's the only way I know how to thread a needle. So it's influenced a lot of my upbringing, and they did mirabilias even then, and so I grew up with fancy ladies and seeing my mum and dad make these pretty pictures, and I was interested, I was intrigued as a teenager, but I just didn't feel... I mean, when you're a teenager, you want to do cool things with your life, don't you? and if... I mean, I've never been a cool person anyway, but I'd like to think I was a cool person. But I wasn't. I was awkward, and even though I was gregarious then, I'm not now, and I'm... Because again, you know, health issues have knocked me for six, and I'm not the person I used to be 30 years ago. I guess that's why I'm doing cross stitching now, because as I said, I'm not the person I was 30 years ago. I am that girl probably wouldn't even think that she would grow up still living with her brothers. She wanted to get married and have children, but that never happened. And I'm not going to delve into that. That's hang on, let me check. Yeah, I hope to see the new Moana film that's coming out in November. I really want to see that because I love the first Moana movie. And from what I understand, she's got a little sister, which is great. I'm glad that they've given her a sibling. My favourite song in that is Shiny. I hope they're doing Encanto too as well, because I love that film. Especially the song We Don't Talk About Bruno. I'm not going to sing it. Just marking off. This is why I love Pattern Keeper. 39 stitches so far. You can do better than that. Yes, so that's a plan to see the Moana movie when it comes out. I'll be going to my parents on Saturday and watch a film that I bought ages ago and yet to see. It's called Operation Mincemeat. It's based on a real World War II adventure that actually helped win the war. It's got Colin Firth in it and Matthew McFadden, so 2 Mr. Darcys in one. I like that. So yes, that is what I'm doing on Saturday. So I've got weekend plans. Probably won't be stitching anything like this then. I have a cross stitch at my parents' place. It's a stamped cross stitch that I do when I'm there. So yes. I've got to watch the first Strictly Dancing show before we watch this, before Saturday, so I can watch the second one when we get home. Unless I could just record it. I could just record it, I suppose. The wonders of modern technology. There used to be a time when if you missed a program, you missed it and that was it. But kids will never understand that struggle. One of my favourite bands, the Monkees, had a TV show in the 60s. My mum was always had to catch the bus to go and see it, to go and watch it at home. And she always used to urge the bus to come earlier so she never missed the beginning of the programme. Little did she know that there would be technology that would make sure that she never missed her programme again that she wanted to watch. So about my parents, they met on a bus. It was a cold February day. They met on a bus and she was wearing this really thick coat, but my dad asked her out anyway, and because he thought that I'd like to have a date with this woman. And then when she turned up on the doorstep on the Sunday for the date, she took this big coat off and revealed a stunning body. And my dad was hooked. So yes, oops, I've got to get the charger in. Hang on. Thought it was in. So, told you, disorganised. Absolutely and utterly disorganised. Down here is just a mess of wires and chargers and there. Sorry about that. So, yes, whilst he was expecting a fairly attractive woman, he wasn't expecting a stunner. But that's what he got. And they got married. Their song is Bridge Over Troubled Waters by Simon and Garfunkel. Brilliant song if you haven't listened to it. Ugh. Fluff. So yes, that is the life story of my parents. They have 5 kids. I'm the second youngest. I have 2 older sisters and 1 older brother and younger brother. One of my older sisters is autistic, severely autistic, but she's managed to eke out a life of her own. She lives on her own. She takes care of herself mostly. We haven't had that many mishaps with her. But the person who helps her out a lot with things, she's turned out to be sick, very sick. So I'm now a bit worried about her situation, what's going to happen there. My oldest sister has a trans child, pronoun she. There's my older brother, the one that does the railways, he's got Asperger's syndrome. So yeah, we really have got the gamut here. Don't think I've got any, but then you don't know, do you, till you're diagnosed, whether you've got these things or not. Let's see if there's any more. 2 more. My back is just like a spider's web of threads. Got to find. Is that it? But I haven't. I just hate it when you think you've marked as, unless I'm in the wrong place. Yeah, I'm in the wrong place. It's down here. I was going to say, don't you hate it when you've marked off a stitch on Pattern Keeper and you find out you haven't done it? But not the case here. I was in the wrong place. It sounds like my brother's in getting his lunch. I'd like to do a bit more before I go. I won't be able to be too long. Scroll back up to the top. Changing colour time now. Bit difficult on this pattern. I must have a tight tension because I can't really reach into the back of the stitches, so if anybody can think of another way of showing me of casting off, I would. Oh, don't do that. Where are my scissors? There they are. So, I'm sorry if you heard that. It's natural. But yeah. This is the only place I can film, so, and certain sounds will be heard that might not be palatable. Now doing a different colour. a wonderful, much lauded 550, which is a deep purple colour. You see it? Deep purple. Ooh. It's really hard to break habits, isn't it? So I'm used to putting that needle in my mouth. I have downloaded an editing program, so I'll have to edit out certain noises, I think, once I work out how to do it. What else? My parents are thinking of getting a kitten. I keep showing them pictures of kittens, and my dad's told me off now because I showed him one of a kitten a picture of a kitten, and we had a cat just like that when we were kids. So it sort of, perhaps I shouldn't have done that. But he was a very special cat. His name was Spicy, and he lived up until 19 years old. And he was a very loyal cat. He used to wait for us when we got home from school at the end of the road, and then followed us all the way back home, making sure that we got home safely. So I won't hear a bad word said against cats. As I said, I'm a cat and a dog person. I don't see the point in choosing sides. They are both wonderful creatures in their own right. They both like to be with people, and cats on their terms more so than dogs. Dogs will be with people anyway, but cats will be with people on their own terms, which makes them slightly special because they choose you, you don't choose them. So yes, I do love cats. Quite frankly, I could almost have a zoo of animals. I really could. I could have snakes, I could have spiders. I know that might freak some people out, but I'm not terrified of spiders at all. I think they do good for the earth. They keep us protected against bugs that might do harm. And it's not exactly as if we live in a country where there are many poisonous species of spider to look out for. So if I was Australian, I probably would have a completely different viewpoint on spiders. But in this country, we don't get those big poisonous beasts, do we? It's been 36 minutes plus the little bit of video before. See how far I can keep going. Wet the whistle there. Again, sorry for the ums and ahs. That's the way I marshal my thoughts, as I said before. What else is happening? I can't think of anything else that's happening at the moment. I almost made a big order of clothes yesterday, but that didn't work out because it was too big. Too big an order. I'm a big fan of Joe Brown's, and whilst this stuff is expensive, it's also pretty. And I like the fact that they are pretty, because they used to make plus size people like me wear dowdy clothes, and that just wasn't right. And now that certain brands are coming out with nicer clothes, anymore, but at a bit of a price, you can understand why Again, as I said, mine is tight. If I can't afford my hobby, then I can't afford clothes, really. Although this is hard. It's harder than I thought it would be, stitching and talking, but I like the Stitch With Me's where they do actually talk, so that's what I'm doing. I am talking. Probably not very well. Different colour now. $60, 154 is this. Lovely dark. Aubergine, I think. Aubergine. I don't actually lick the floss, I just put it between my mouth just to give it a bit of, just to sort of make sure that I can thread the needle. As you can see, I like my jewellery. I love my rings. You'd have thought it'd be hard to stitch with rings on, but it's not. A couple of my rings, the threads get caught in occasionally, but deal with that when I get to it. Right. After this, I think I better, after this colour, I'm going to stop. It's been 40 odd minutes, so that should be enough. And I really cannot think of anything else to say. Hopefully the next time I film, I'd have read a chapter or two of Count of Monte Cristo and tell you how I'm getting on with that. As a point, all you readers out there, do you have a book that blocks you? If you feel you want to read it because you feel it will complete you in some way to read it, but every time you pick it up, you read 1 or 2 chapters and that's it, you can't read any more. Because I've got a book like that and it's really frustrating because I really want to read this book, and it's by one of my favourite authors. It's by Jane Austen, but for some reason I cannot get my head around Mansfield Park. The most I've made is about 200 pages before. That was the first time I read it. Just can't seem to get past the block on that book. Maybe because the characters aren't as sparkling or as witty as they are in Pride and Prejudice, I don't know. But has anybody ever had that kind of thing ever happen to them? They're just blocked by a book. I mean, I like writing, so I get writer's block, but reading block? What's the next colour? It's only, oh, there's a lot there. 902. Right, it sounds like my brother is getting his lunch. So I'm just going to stop now. I started at 0. I've done 71 stitches in this time. Not a great deal, but filled in a few bits. I will probably continue stitching as the day goes on. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and if you like what you heard and if you have any hints or tips to carry on, please don't hesitate to comment below. And again, thank you for all the subscribers I've had so far. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Bye.